Somewhere way out in the Aussie outback, an injured hiker is in strife and needs help fast. A plane is dispatched from Kingaroy Airport to drop off some life-saving water and medical supplies. And that is when disaster strikes.
Mayday. We have a major problem. Wind chip stalled port side. I can't hold it. We're losing it. We're going down fast. Mayday! Mayday!
This could have been a real tragedy. The pilot, medical staff and everyone else on board could have been killed, if in fact there were anyone on board. You see, this was a UAV, an uninhabited aerial vehicle, and it was taking part in the inaugural UAV Challenge Outback Rescue. And as you're about to see, it certainly was a challenge. For the uninitiated, UAVs are robot aircraft that have the potential to provide low-cost airborne delivery and surveillance in places where it's not safe or convenient to use human pilots. For example, 90% of Australia. Relying on modern computers and GPS guidance, they're already in use in large numbers by defence forces around the world, even by the Australian military for reconnaissance to make sure our troops are forewarned and forearmed. However, they also have many practical civilian uses, such as locating lost bushwalkers in the vast Australian outback. And that is precisely what the UAV Outback Challenge set out to demonstrate. Organised by Australian Research Centre for Aerospace Automation, Queensland University of Technology and CSIRO, and generously supported by Boeing Australia, the Queensland Government, the Association for Unmanned Vehicle Systems International and the Aerospace and Electronic Systems Society of the IEEE, the first ever UAV Outback Challenge took place on the 24th through to the 27th of September 2007 at Kingaroy in Queensland, Australia. With a top flight team of judges and a senior naval officer from Nowra who acted as range safety manager and enforced the CASA closure of the airport for the duration, the event was seriously well run. The challenge was broken into two categories: the Airborne Delivery Challenge, exclusively for Queensland high schools at this stage, but next year all Australian high schools, and the Search and Rescue Challenge, open to all universities and enthusiasts from around the world. The Airborne Delivery Challenge saw 5 fledgling high school teams strut their stuff, and those magnificent young men with their flying machines put on a top-class show. Their aircraft ranged from the sublime to the ridiculously simple, such as Kingaroy High School's ingenious Coke bottle fuselage, which was not only light, strong and hopefully impact resistant, but also took recycling to new heights. The high school competition was held over the first 2 days of the event. It involved the mission briefing, a day's practice, plus delivery of technical documentation, an oral presentation, an airworthy safety inspection, hours of fine-tuning, and finally the actual flights themselves. The Airborne Delivery Challenge was to deliver a package, in this case a golf ball, as close as possible to the centre of the drop zone, a 1 metre by 2 metre sand pit. Now, normally golf balls are irresistibly drawn to sand and water. However, the students did face a few hurdles, literally. To make the challenge more challenging, 2 hurdles were set up either side of the drop zone. This was so aircraft had to fly at least 4 metres above the ground, meaning teams had to work out the ball's ballistic trajectory. And so the student responsible for delivering the payload didn't have continual line of sight and would have to rely on technology and/or teamwork to succeed. The 2 key members of each team were the UAV controller, who had to fly the UAV in a regular circuit pattern, and the mission manager, who was responsible for the drop. While the controller was as free as a bird and could operate from anywhere on the field, the mission manager was glued to the spot, as were the small but enthralled crowd of spectators. On the day of the challenge, there was a 3rd hurdle that students had to overcome. No, not the flies. The natural enemy of all small UAVs, the wind. Wind gusts of up to 20 knots later played havoc with the entrance in the open challenge, so the students with their lighter, less powerful aircraft really earned their wings and made it through the challenge on a wing and a prayer. Although no team managed to actually hit the drop zone, 2 teams were tantalisingly close. And all the teams in the Airborne Delivery Challenge have vowed to nail it next year, especially Mueller College, whose senior and junior teams claimed first and second prize respectively. Mueller also trifected the event by winning the supplementary Team Documentary Challenge. A great result for the college and their MUROC Radio Control Aircraft Club.
I actually sat through with Team Advisor when we built every single bit of it, so I actually learned a lot doing that. That was the idea. The idea of building from scratch so we could all learn about aircraft design, the electronic components, modelling itself, and pretty much we all learned a lot there.
The Search and Rescue Challenge was next on the UAV agenda, and it had more drama than a soap opera. Of the 20 teams registering for the competition at the start of the year, only 4 Top Gun teams had all the deliverables required to satisfy the judging panel. Team Silvertone, a joint venture team of hobbyists from USA and Australia, Dionysus, hobbyists from Chico, California, SRUAV, undergrads from QUT, and I SAW, their counterparts from the University of Adelaide. Team Dionysus faced a challenge even before the challenge. With its wings off and all the wiring and electronics, you can imagine what it looked like on the airport X-ray machine.
They stopped it, looked over the screen and said, "Hey, what's in here?"
However, that was just a hiccup compared to their competitors. Teams I SAW and SRUAV were forced to withdraw at the 11th hour due to technical problems and some unfortunate mishaps. While Team Silvertone's superb-looking Flamingo machine lost a little in translation between American and Australian componentry. The day before the event, an equipment incompatibility fried their hardware, and Bob's your uncle.
And it just blew up and took half of our electronics with it.
So that just left Team Dionysus to rescue Outback Joe. Still stranded and no doubt feeling like a real dummy. It obviously wasn't Joe's day. Dionysus also had technical problems of their own on the day with their drop mechanism, which had been rendered inoperable during a recent crash landing, and also problems with the autopilot and GPS coordinates, which were inadvertently still set for the Northern Hemisphere, the mirror opposite of ours. And so, even though Dionysus had excellent presentations and technical reports, and came through their flight demonstration and flight termination sections with flying colours, the last vital phase of the Search and Rescue Challenge could not be attempted. Therefore, the $40,000 prize jackpots to $50,000 next year.
Hopefully. We're just here for the fun of it anyway, so anything else is a bonus.
It's just glad that it's all over and it did what we wanted it to do. And we can relax now.
Overall, it was a brilliant effort.
Boeing's extremely proud to be involved in the ARCA Challenge this year. For Boeing, this is an exciting new way of stimulating research and development, looking at new ways of developing technology. I mean, UAV technology is going to be with us. It's still developing, and as we've seen today, it's still got some way to go, but it's really, really exciting to be involved at the front end of this development. UAVs are really important to Boeing Australia today. We've got a small fleet of UAVs, but a very important fleet of UAVs, which we're using in Afghanistan and Iraq. The high school students were particularly exciting. I mean, it's so great to see kids at that age getting so passionate and so engaged. I think today's been excellent. We may not have had a winner. In fact, we may not have had anybody being able to fly around the course, but what we've seen today is the start of something that's great. Now, when we get back here next year, I think what we'll see is many more people actually making it to this stage, and I think we'll see many fly the course, and I think that next year we won't be measuring how many people successfully get their package to Joe. I think it'll be how close to Joe they actually get their water bottle. I think next year's going to be fantastic.
Just tell Joe to hang on.
Well, it was his choice to go out there.